Tēnā koutou. Hi everybody in New Zealand. Hi everyone. Hope everyone had a great holiday. This video is going to be about New Zealand earthquake news updates for today. This video is our version of New Zealand earthquake news. The updates for today show 61 earthquakes today which occurred in the last 24 hours. There were 492 earthquakes this past week. We'll be sure to discuss the earthquake magnitudes for North Island, New Zealand, and South Island, New Zealand. We also will further discuss the earthquakes near Whakatane, near the Moutohora Island Volcano, which is now classified as extinct. There is also a 3.9 magnitude earthquake that over 200 people felt near Hamilton, Waikato, New Zealand, that we'll review and more. Let's do this. All right, let's go ahead and make sure we show you everything. Just to give you a little information, some of the places that were hit with earthquakes, and they weren't really large, but there were several. It was near the Christchurch area in New Zealand, Inglewood, New Zealand, Wellington, the Bay of Plenty, Cook Strait, all in those different places, and there were quite a few that were offshore and also onshore. So let's take a look and see what was offshore. You can see that there were plenty of earthquakes that were right along the volcanoes that are out offshore. And we can tell that White Island Volcano is actually still under unrest. Auckland area is clear. Just to let you know, all these black pyramids that you see here, or cones, are all what they call extinct volcanoes. So I want to let you be this way. You can also see which volcanoes are actually having earthquakes around them, even if they are extinct. And I think that's kind of important in this time frame. You had a 1.6 about 5 days ago, but you also had a recent one that was 16 hours ago that was a 2.2, and we'll check and see which one this was. Some of you are aware of these volcanoes that are out here. Kaiamai is this particular one here that is extinct. Now, there was an earthquake that was a 3.9 about 14 hours ago, and this is the one that 228 people actually felt. When we take a look at the reports, we can see that many people were shaking. I only saw one person say that they heard a boom. It was only one. It shook for some seconds. Pets disturbed. Sitting in chair, started shaking back and forth. And you can see it was all over the place that everyone was actually feeling this, but mainly in the general area. I felt in bed, felt violent jolt, then shaking pictures banging on the walls. So people felt this. They definitely felt this. I don't know if some of you that are here on the channel felt it or not, but just want to let you know it was 228 people, and actually there was different magnitudes that were measured. Raspberry Shakes stated that it was a 4.3, and along with EMSC, but when it got over to GeoNet, they stated it was actually a 3.9. Okay, just to let you know that it was stronger than what others had said accordingly when it first originally was reported. And it may have been downgraded. I don't really know, what the story is. But you can also see that there are definitely some earthquakes that are all throughout this area that happened earlier this week. The dark red ones are the ones that are the most recent. Now, when we look at Lake Taupo, we can see that it's still currently under unrest, and the same with White Island Volcano is under unrest as well. You can see that there are quite a few earthquakes that happened earlier in the week, the ones that are orange and the ones that are green. The green ones are the ones that happened around 7 days ago. However, the ones that are red are the ones that are like a 1.5. Give you an idea, that happened 14 hours ago. That one happened 3 days ago. There's a couple of red ones over this way, but they are relatively small. So Lake Taupo Volcano has actually calmed down, from earlier this week. And if we look through this area here, we see in Moutohora, we can see that there's actually a 3.4 that happened about 15 minutes ago. That's something that people could feel. Also near New Plymouth, 41 kilometers from it, there was a 2.1 around 18 hours ago. Seemed like a lot of things happened around 18 hours ago. And when we look along the actual shore, you can see that there's onshore and offshore earthquakes that have actually occurred. I was looking at my notes to figure out if that was one thing I wanted to mention. A lot of these earthquakes have been happening over and over again. And remember, we did mention about the two tectonic plates. One side is, this side here is the Indo-Australia plate. On this side of this line here, which turns into the Alpine Fault that runs through South Island, this side here is the Pacific Ocean. So right now there tends to be a lot of earthquakes that are either right on the shoreline. You can see also on the shoreline down here. But let's keep looking. We see that there's some earthquakes that have happened in this area here, and we can take a look. 11 minutes ago there was a 1.7 that just happened, and there's one here in Manawatu. There was actually right near it. It was a 2.2 magnitude earthquake, and that was about 22 hours ago. Now, Wellington, New Zealand has been having earthquakes right offshore. That has continued. Also, the Cook Strait has also had offshore earthquakes as well. We can see those all throughout this area here. You can see that they're all in this area. Now, most of these did happen earlier in the week. Here's one that's brand new. This happened 51 minutes ago. It was a 2.0 that actually just happened. Now, when we get down to the South Island has had quite a few earthquakes that are right along the northern part of it. There's also one that has been, there's some that are actually by some of the national parks, not too bad. This one here was a 1.7, happened about 16 hours ago. Now there's a few here and there, Midland, and that was a 2.5 that happened. And near Christchurch, New Zealand, there has actually been a few scattered earthquakes in the surrounding areas. Rolleston, we just had an update. Rolleston had actually had one not too far from it. Darfield had some. Littleton has had some right in this general area here. Let's see what they are. They're probably like a 2.5. Now this one here is a little larger. I'm not sure what this one was. This was a 4.1, and that happened 4 days ago. Did anybody report it? 2 people did report that they actually felt that particular earthquake. Let's see, are there any more? There's some here on the other side of the Alpine Fault. Are there some on this side here? Okay. Now there was a big one that happened 5 days ago. It was a 5.0. I've been watching this. I've been on and off with the computer, but I've been watching this. The larger ones have maintained being offshore. So the earthquakes that are the strongest are offshore. The ones that are like the ones and maybe a 4 here and there are the ones that are hitting the islands, are real close to the islands offshore. Well, that just concludes everything. Just want to let you know I did look at everything earlier. It was 492 earthquakes that happened in the past week. And there was actually 61 earthquakes 492, in the last week. And then there was 61 earthquakes that happened in the last 24 hours. We'll keep a look on things for everybody out there in New Zealand. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and keep your apps on you. But things are looking better. It's just most of the larger earthquakes are over in this area here, all in offshore, mainly offshore, and some out here not too far from the Bay of Plenty. There's a few that are out here. So we'll keep an eye on that for you, and we'll make sure you get you a video in case something else happens. Like, share, and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Ciao.